the most important thing that we need to do in terms of our external relationship with others is that we need to maintain the right balance. The balance between China, the relationship with China, and the relationship with the rest of the world. Many people thought that cross-strait is cross-strait, but I tend to think that cross-strait is part of our external relationship. And it is best for us to put the management of this relationship in a context, in a multilateral context. Because after 50 or 60 years of development, this multilateral community has its own rule and has its own way of dealing business. And we don't have to create new rules, new structures for China, because both China and us are members of the international communities, and we are part of the multilateral trading system as well. So I guess people have been so used to the idea that cross-strait is cross-strait, and we have to make our own rules and to develop our own approach in terms of dealing with the cross-strait matters. But we forgot the fact that we are both members of the international communities, and we are also part of the multilateral trading system. And the international community has its own rules and procedures to deal with things. And the multilateral trading system has been there for more than 60 or 50, 60 years. So with that, I mean, it's enough to serve as a basis to develop a new relationship in the 21st century. So what I'm saying is that the next DPP administration, when dealing with the China issue, will be using a new approach rather than going back to the last century when people only talk about the issue of one China principle, the 1992 consensus, things of that sort. We thought that these ideas or these issues have become out of date if we want to move the relationship forward. And we want to start a new generation of cross-strait relationship. Of course, you may challenge me as to whether I'm too optimistic about it, but my view is that if we are realistic enough, we'll be able to get there. And China has an obligation to. That is, China has an obligation to maintain a good relationship with Taiwan and to respect the feelings and the values of the people here. I mean, of course, this is international norm that China has to follow. So it's not us who have the obligation to maintain a peaceful and stable relationship with China. China has that obligation too. I mean, these are our common obligation towards the international community. So that is the basic difference. Essentially, the KMT's approach is the last century approach. That is, they still want to maintain this relationship by sticking to this idea of one China principle and also this idea of 1992 consensus. But these, in my view, are very weak basis for us to move forward in the 21st century.